We're going to start out by casting on 7 stitches. And right now, we're going to start making the body of the snowman. So we're going to go 1, 2 to one of the other double pointed needles, and then we're going to take another one and do 2, and then you have 3 on that one. Pull it through. Okay, so if you've never worked with double pointed needles before, this might be fun for you to watch and maybe try. It is a great way to knit small things. You can use the magic loop method, which is something that I've done maybe once. But I tend to like the double pointed needles. Okay, so we're gonna start off by forming the circle. So we have the 7 stitches on our needles. You're gonna go into this needle so that you can have the stitch marker and grab that 3rd stitch. But this is an increase row already. So you're going to knit 1 in the front. Now we're going to go to the back. And it's a little snug, but that's okay. Okay, so now you have the stitches on there. Okay, now we're all set up to start going around. And you're going to knit front and back of every stitch on that first row. So that is our increase row. We just increased it from 7 stitches to 14 stitches, and see how you have like a little circle there. Okay, so the next row, row 2, we're going to knit around the whole row. Okay, now we're on row 3, and we're gonna increase our stitches from 14 stitches to 28. So we're gonna do that knit front and back again, all the way around. And remember, you always, the reason you have the stitch marker is so that you can see the beginning of your row. So we'll do that, knit front and back, starting at the beginning of the row after that stitch marker. All right, we've increased it to 28 stitches. You still see that circle in the middle there. And now we're going to knit all the way around for 3 rows. Okay, so I've knit the 3 rows around, and now you can kind of see how it's looking. One thing, a tip that I wanted to say is that if you lost count of your knit rows there, you can see this little stitch there is where you did an increase row, and the one just above it is also part of it. So if you count up, you can see you got 1, 2, 3 rows that you did of regular knit rows. And so now we're going to work on row 7, and it's another increase row, but it's a little different. So it's a knit front, back, knit 1. So we're going to knit front and back of the first stitch. It gets a little easier. And then we're going to knit one, just a regular knit. So now it looks like that. So the combination is of 3 stitches, a knit front and back, and a knit one, another knit front and back. That's how the pattern goes for this row, and a knit one stitch. Okay, and do that all the way around. Okay, so we did another increase row, and you should have, I believe, 42 stitches. So now we're going to just knit rows 8 through 22. So I forgot to explain that after like a few rows, I got like 4 rows in, you can transfer over to the cable needle if you want to stop working on the double pointeds. But at some point when we decrease, you're going to have to get back to the double pointed needles. So if that's something that you want to do, it's real simple. You just knit onto the cable needle. Okay, so we knit our 15 rows, and I'm still on the cable needle. I haven't got back on the double pointed needles yet. Right now, after those 15 rows, you're going to start with a decrease row, and then we'll switch over to the double pointed needles after this decrease row. Okay, so the decrease row goes like this. You knit 1, knit 2 together. So these 2 stitches, I'm going to knit them together like that. And you do that all the way around. So knit 1, knit 2 together. And after that decrease row, we're going to go ahead and knit 3 rows. I have transferred my stitches over to the double pointed knitting needles after that 3rd knit row. And this is going to be another decrease row. That's why I did that, because we're going to go down from 28 stitches to 14 stitches. Okay, and so I already started that first stitch, and it's a knit 2 together all the way around. Row will be a regular knit row, so go ahead and knit that first stitch of the beginning of the row just to keep that stitch marker on. And at this point, we basically have the body of the snowman, and we are going to stuff him going to do a knit row. It looks a little stretched, but that's okay. As you knit, you just pull it together. Pull it nice and tight and keep the tension. So we're just going to go from here, from the 14 stitches, and we're going to do an increase row for the head. We're going to increase it from the 14 stitches to 28 stitches. So we're going to do that knit front to back stitch, which I shouldn't have done this one yet. Just wanted to keep that stitch marker on there by habit. I'm going to go back in there and knit the back. Okay, so all the way around we're going to knit front to back. Alright, so now we've made 28 stitches. We increase so that we can do the head, and I just knit these 2 after the stitch marker to keep it on there. Now we're gonna knit, I think it's like 10 rows maybe. What is it? It's row 2 through 13. So after you have knit, I'm gonna correct myself because I think I said 10 rows. It's actually 12 rows. You can see from the increase row here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 rows, and now we're gonna do a decrease row where we knit 2 together all the way around. Now when you get to this point, you're going to knit 1 to keep the stitch marker on there. And you can kind of see what's happening here. We're going to stuff the head. All the way around that, and remember, pull tight so that those row stitches come together there. Try not to get the stuffing in your stitches. Together all the way around. After you've knit 2 together all the way around and you've done the decrease to 7 stitches, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to take our scissors first. And you're just gonna cut, you know, like 3-4 inches. You're gonna feed it through the tapestry needle. body and the head of the snowman, which is nice. Okay, so So now we're going to work on the scarf and the hat. So we're going to cast on 3 stitches, doing the long tail cast on or whichever cast on you prefer. It doesn't really matter for this. So you got 3 on the needle. I'm going to take the other needle, and you do need double pointed knitting needles for this. That's just the way it works, because you're just sliding it back and forth to make the I-cord. So we'll start out with our, get rid of the tail, just set it to the side. Okay, so we're going to grab our working yarn. We're going to knit across. Like that. Okay, so you have the one row, and always kind of make it a habit when you're making an I-cord to pull. So usually what you would do is you would turn like that, and then you'd knit across if you were doing anything else. So, but this, we're not turning. So you knit that one row, and your working yarn is now on this side. It's now over here. But we're going to just slide it across to the other side. You're going to knit again across. Okay, so now it's on this side of the pole, and slide it down. I hope that this is making sense. About 18 inches gives you a nice little scarf here. So I'm going to end there with my I-cord. I'm just going to cut it about like that. And then you have this. This was the last loop, because I didn't show you the bind off, but oops. This was the last loop that bound off, and you just pull it. So it's a bigger loop. And so now we have our little scarf. We're going to add it to our snowman. We're going to cast on 30 stitches. We're going to go ahead and put our stitch marker on that last needle. Put the tail to the side. We're going to grab a stitch from that needle, and it's going to be the first row is going to be a knit 1, purl 1. So you're going to knit 1, and we're not going to grab another one, sorry, we're going to grab another needle. And actually I do not like to purl in between needles, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that one too. Okay. All right. Now I'm just going to knit 1, purl 1, all the way around, knit 1, purl 1. all the way around. Okay, so now we have our 3 rows of ribbing, the Knit One Purl one. You can see it. We're gonna knit around for 5 rows. So now we have our 5, we got our 3 ribbed rows and our 5 knit rows. And now we're going to work on our decreases. So we have, we're going to start with knitting 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then knit, we're going to knit 2 together. Okay. Knit 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're gonna knit 2 together. Now we're at the end of the row, starting a new one, and we're gonna knit 3. So 1, 2, knit 3 stitches, that is. This is number 3, and then we're gonna knit 2 together. And then we're gonna knit 2 stitches. So that's 2. And then knit 2 together. And then we just did knit 2 stitches, knit 2 together, so we're gonna knit 1. I don't know if you noticed the pattern. We went down from 4, 3, 2, and now we're at 1. We're going to knit these together. Let me get them on the needle. It's gotta be even. Okay, and so knit 1. Knit 2 together, and at this point you should have 10 stitches on your needles, and we're gonna just knit 2 together and decrease the 10 down to 5. Really quick, cute little hat. Okay, and it fits perfectly right on top of the little snowman. And we're going to take our tapestry needle. We're going to cut a little bit of this. I'm going to cut it, and then you're going to put it on your tapestry needle and weave it in through the ends, just like we did with the snowman. And I basically made this little hat for tutorial purposes and already had made a hat for this guy, and there it is, all complete. You can make a you can attach it to him as well, and then add a face if you want. I also have these little heart buttons that are cute. You can put them where their heart would be. You can use black buttons for the eyes, or you can just have a faceless snowman. You can also make a pom-pom for the top of the hat, which I did on another snowman, and you can do it just by either using one of these pom-pom makers, and if you've never used these before, you should go out and get one. They're super fun. You can make pom-poms with them. I could do a tutorial on that, or you could there's plenty of them out there. Really easy, really fun. You can add pom-poms to anything and everything.